You don't want to jump to the end of the scale. You don't want to do extreme things, because it is likely to shut you down. Or I mean, it's also just kind of torture for yourself, right? You're just torturing yourself. Maybe it's, it can work. It's flooding. It's called. It can work, but it's very, very painful. And I don't recommend people do that. It's not useful. Because you want to be, it's part of being compassionate, right? Part of being compassionate to yourself. You want to look at how much can I take on? Like you might look at scientific literature and be like, oh, ideal exposure is 5 times a week for 2 hours. And sure, but you don't have to do it that way, because that might be too painful. So I think being compassionate, saying, it's going to be a growth process. You don't have to get there as quickly as possible. You want to be, kind to yourself, compassionate to yourself. In a lot of ways, the best goal is one step further than you are. So like one exposure I recommend to people is like, where you would normally stop speaking, just say one more thing. Or like ask a question. Like wherever you are, go one step further along from where, from that spot, go one step further. Push yourself a little bit more. If you normally don't show any of your thoughts and opinions, share some safe ones. Like look for those places where you would normally avoid or back away. And then just turn the dial up a little bit. Just one step further than you were. And I think there's not a lot. I mean, you can do it in this big way, but it's really, really, it strains us. It's exhausting. And a lot of times we're just like, like the big problem with people doing doing exposure without understanding it is that they do take on too much, or they don't persist through it. So the anxiety goes up. And instead of persisting through it for it to go, oh, okay, wait, the outcome wasn't so bad. Or I got used to it. I started to calm down after a while when I saw there was no bad response. Instead of having the nice curve or that learning experience of, oh, it's naturally not that dangerous. If you try to take on too much, what ends up happening is you put yourself in the position, but then you don't do it because the anxiety is so high, it's so uncomfortable. You just really, the urge to flee or protect is too strong. Or you white knuckle and push yourself into it and then have to escape. And you think of it again like a child, right? You are parenting yourself. And there is a part of you that, like a child, is very scared. Is scared and doesn't know what to do. And your goal is like, well, if you had that child, would you push him out of the plane? Or would you probably do it in a more kind, compassionate way of slowly escalating? And then afterwards, with the kids, saying, hey, what happened? What did you learn? Was it as bad as you thought it was? Like, how would you feel about doing this again? Being kind to yourself and like slow, because that's what you're doing, is teaching your emotional system, teaching that child inside you that the situation is not as dangerous as you believe it is. It's not as dangerous as you learned it was. And in the case of like showing yourself, that it's safer than you believe it is.